1.2 for Zenless Zone Zero launches with quite the interesting story and introduces new areas as we enter the Outer Ring for the first time. While alongside such a great release of new story, new areas, new content to enjoy, we've got an event that's granting us a member of the Sons of Caledon for free. That just so happens to be Luciana de Montefio. For a lot of players, this will be your first time getting your hands on Lucy, seeing as she's never gone her 8-up since the game's launch. Chances are you haven't gotten to experience the absolute best support in the game. But don't you worry, there's a lot to learn when it comes to Lucy and being able to use her to her best capabilities. Together, let's go over that and cover several team compositions, different builds, as well as go over some beginner setups and then endgame setups to maximize Lucy's capabilities. With regards to Lucy, she's quite the interesting character. Currently, in the game, there's only 2 characters with access to minions, that being Lucy and Rena. With that being said, Lucy's gameplay revolves around her minions while also providing a buff to all allies on the team, with the minions included in the formula. Lucy has 2 versions of her EX special attack, a tap version which will call a guard boar to her side to attack, hitting a line drive to attack the enemy while also applying the cheer on stat buff for 10 seconds. Or her hold version, where she'll hit a fly ball, taking a bit more wind-up time and hang time until it hits the enemy, with the added benefit of it dealing more damage, and the cheer on buff will last 15 seconds instead. Oh, and there's also this kind of funny version where if you start the animation, with the dash cancel out of it, the board just jumps into position and just flops. Yeah, poor guy. Depending on the situation that you're in, the length of the buff, or your choice of whether or not you want to use the tap or held version all depends on your team's overall rotation, as the buff has a shorter cooldown to alleviate the fact that it is a team-wide buff. So what is the cheer on buff? By activating this buff, Lucy will provide the team up to 600 attack based on a percentage of her attack, plus a flat attack bonus. While her EX special is used, the cheer on buff also allows for the guard boars to be able to use their own special move, Guard Boar Spinning Swing. And they start to just go ham and spit on the enemies very often, and this can also be triggered by Lucy using her basic attacks and getting the 4th hit into her combo. As the guard boars are regarded as a basic attack in their damage calculations, this also means you should prioritize getting your basic attacks up. All in all, you'll be leveling up your EX special, your basic, and then your ultimate to also allow for the chain attacks to deal more damage as well, since, you know, it's just free damage. And before we move on to Lucy's kit as a whole, I want to talk about her core passive and additional ability. By upgrading her core passive, the guard boars will deal more damage, and when you're running another Sons of Caledon member, or a character that has a fire attribute, the guard boars will inherit Lucy's crit rate and crit damage. The damage these little guys may be a little low, but with all 3 of them constantly dealing little bits of chip damage here and there, you start to notice a lot of results and it all begins to add up. Let's move on to her stat priorities and talk about her potential drive discs and W engine options. Now, in terms of what you'll want to use on your Lucy, it's gotta be the 4-piece Swing Jazz set. Being the de facto support set for the team and granting the entire squad a 15% damage boost after using a chain attack or ultimate, this is by far your best option. Depending on the team composition that you'll be running for your Lucy though, the 2-piece sets have quite a few options that you can use. Hormone Punk is the general use set you'll end up choosing, granting Lucy a 10% attack increase. Great for those trying to maximize her attack stat and getting as close to the 600 attack cap as possible for the cheer on buff. Freedom Blues or Chaos Jazz is our next option, as the 30 anomaly proficiency can be quite handy, as the guard boars inherit the anomaly proficiency that is on Lucy as well, allowing for her EX attacks and her attacks in general to generate and benefit from anomaly compositions as well. For her W engines, Kaboom the Cannon, her signature engine, is such a great option, granting her an attack buff as well as energy regen. Now, if the game's actually really good, I would assume that each guard boar would count as an individual in the squad, meaning that as long as you use her EX special to bring them onto the field, and they have them attack passively, whenever you're using your main damage dealer, you'll be able to get all 4 stacks in that way. The game's not been so nice to me, so I don't own the engine, so I can only assume. Weeping Cradle is another great option, as the passive energy regen every second she's off field can add up to quite a bit, as you're only realistically spending time with Lucy on field just to reapply the cheer on buff itself, as well as the overall additional attack gain from leveling the engine to max level. Mark II and Mark III are good options as well, depending on the team compositions of your choice, so they'll be good to start with until you can get the other options later on. When going over your stat priorities, there's a lot of things you should also consider too. What is it exactly that you want out of your Lucy? While she can deal good damage by herself, it's not her top priority, So what you should be worrying about first is your attack to maximize the cheer on buff. For your disc drives, this means you'll want your 4th and 5th discs to appear as attack percentage. For your slot 6, if you're running Weapon Cradle, it may be better to run Energy Regen as your 6th slot, but if you're running Lucy's signature Kaboom the cannon, that already gives you Energy Regen. You can also opt to run attack percentage on your 6th slot as well. Assuming you'll be leveling up her EX special to at least level 10, you'll need around 2480 attack to get the full benefit of the cheer on buff. If you're just starting out and you want to get the most out of your Lucy, this is the best starting point for you to try and achieve. Going forward, the next thing you'll want to try and aim for is your crit rate and crit damage. When chasing substats, the great thing about Zenless Zone Zero substat is that you'll only get max rolls because there's only one stat increase for each type of increase, which means you'll be able to get a lot more crit rate and crit damage as well from your substat increases. As you get your Lucy closer and closer to max level, and also you're maxing out your W engine, the amount of attack percentage that you need will start to drop, meaning you can also opt to swap in your 4th disc drive from attack percent into crit rate. Aiming for a 1-to-2 ratio for your crit stats is a good bit to work around, and you can even start with just a little bit. Anywhere from 30 to 40% crit rate and 80 to 100 crit damage is more than plain than you'll ever need. And with that, you're slowly but surely getting the most value out of your Lucy. One last thing I want to go over for Lucy before we hop into team composition and showcases is Lucy's Mindscapes. In terms of getting good duplicates for your Lucy, almost all of her Mindscapes actually are pretty good to have. The most important one that you're looking for is Lucy's M2 Little Boar Captain. This allows for whenever your Lucy is using her chain attack or ultimate, you'll be able to get the cheer on buff from that as well. Meaning you don't even have to necessarily bring in your Lucy onto field to keep the buff in rotation, if you also happen to not have any energy to use her EX special. Other than that, I would say the rest of her Mindscapes are really just quality of life buffs and aren't really too necessary overall. It is what I would have said until I finally decided to read her M6. Essentially, as long as the cheer on buff is up, and you would use any of your team members' EX special attacks, a flying guard boar will appear from the sky and deal 300% damage based on the guard boar's attack, and then will extend the cheer on buff for another 5 seconds apiece up to 3 times per use of Lucy's EX special. Honestly, now that's a good M6. If you ever get the opportunity to get your hands on that one in the future, you definitely won't be missing out. With all the team compositions that I've been trying out with Lucy, there's quite a few that come out on top of where her skills are able to shine. Jane Doe, Seth, and Lucy is quite a great composition. Jane is a pretty selfish character who wants to be on the field as much as possible and as often as possible. This team comp allows for Jane to shine as much as possible, granting her access to double quick assists, allowing for more anomalies to trigger often, with the options for some disorders as well. The issue with this team comp does show where you can't actually activate Lucy's additional ability, taking away some of her damage contribution. Which leads into our next composition being with Lucy running with Piper. Piper allows for Lucy to be able to get her additional ability while also providing that necessary attack boost. Speaking of factions, Caesar, our newest Sons of Calibon member and current rated up banner character, works wonders with Lucy to become a core 2 members for any sort of composition. Caesar Lucy offers such a huge amount of damage, and quite honestly, being able to use them together in any single team composition just makes Lucy that much more valuable as a free character being given. Running the 2 together will be a solid foundation for any account, and you'll be able to get so much out of this core as well. Honorable mentions to other teams like GUN, Nicole, and Lucy, which allow for some crazy numbers out for your GUN. The fire team of Soldier 11, Kaleda, and Lucy is also a very strong one too. With how strong Lucy's abilities are, even without her additional ability, she is still able to do so well in combat scenarios she is placed in. With all that said and done, let's tie things up together at the very end and let's just speak our mind now, shall we? Lucy has been one of those characters on and off since I first started playing the game, but I wanted to make work. After countless team compositions and lots of stamina, I finally got her to a state where I feel like she's able to fulfill her role no matter which team composition she was placed in. Lucy is a character I truly do believe is going to continue to get better as the roster continues to grow bigger. Her benefits are super universal right now, and the capability she grants to almost all of the damage dealers currently in the game makes her so easy to just pick up and use. I do believe that she's going to be a huge staple in the game when Bernice releases, but that's for another video, and we did manage to get our hands on Bernice through requests, so maybe I'll talk about her a bit sooner than expected. And with that, that's all I've got for this video. Thanks for watching. Zenless Zone Zero has been a blast to play, and with the 1.2 patch, I truly do believe the game has hit an all-time high. Lucy has been one of my favorite characters to use in the game, while also holding one of my favorite types of gimmicks, which is summons. So I'm kind of excited to see how they expand on this kind of style in the future. There's a lot more of these kinds of videos to come in the future, and there's a lot of topics I'd like to cover for this game as well, so please look forward to that. Comment down below which Sons of Caliban member is your favorite, and for now, I'll see you guys on the next one. Till next time, peace.